Hello, my name is Pat Bohse, and welcome to SCAN. Today, our guest is Carlos Rodriguez, the Executive Director of FoodBank for Monmouth and Ocean Counties. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really happy to have you here, especially we're going to be talking about exciting things that are going on both in Monmouth and Ocean County. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about how you came to Monmouth and Ocean Counties.
Well, I guess it all started when I married a Jersey girl. And soon after that, the opportunity to lead the FoodBank of Monmouth and Ocean County presented itself, and the good board at the FoodBank provided me with the opportunity to be its leader. But I joined Monmouth and Ocean County coming from New York City, where I spent most of my career working in New York State, and about 15 years in not-for-profit work. And I actually am joining the food bank after 5 years of being with the food bank for New York City. So I've been in food banking for a while, and in not-for-profit management and policy work for an even longer time.
And the food bank business is alive, well, and kicking in regards to the need and also the model of business that you're putting forth.
Unfortunately, it is. It's something that we are called to action every day. It's not something that just happens any particular time of the year. Food banking and addressing the problem of hunger here in Monmouth and Ocean County especially is something that unfortunately has been on the rise, and has been on the rise even before the Sandy storm hit.
Yeah, the financial situation that I think we've been experiencing for the last couple of years really has taken its toll also.
The first storm that we were dealing with was exactly that, the economic storm, and the 5 years prior to now, we had seen an increase of about 84% of the number of families and people that we're serving. So we were serving before Sandy about 127,000 people in both counties.
Wow.
So it's about 1 in 10 residents in Monmouth and Ocean, just to put that. That's a big market share no matter what business you're in. But when you're in the business of providing food to those in need, it's just too big of a market share.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the food bank and what you do there, where it's located. I had the pleasure of having a tour of it not too long ago. Incredibly impressed, especially with all of your collaborations that are going on. So tell us about it.
So the food bank is the primary provider of food and resources to a network of food pantries, soup kitchen, and other emergency food providers throughout Monmouth and Ocean. Our mission is to alleviate hunger and really work towards a community that's food secure. What does that mean? That means that we want to make sure that people don't not only have the food for their immediate needs when they need it that night, for a hot meal that night, but that they have the means to actually go out and shop the way you and I shop. To be able to go to the supermarkets and make the nutritious choices so they can live whatever the healthiest lifestyle for them could be. And so we start with food. It starts with food to make sure that all the immediate needs are taken care of. And we work with over 260 programs throughout Monmouth and Ocean. So other charities, smaller charities on the front lines to be able to connect resources to them or with them to the communities that we serve.
So let's talk about those 260 charities. What does the makeup look like?
So it's primarily faith-based organizations. Well, first I should say they're all 501c3s, not-for-profits. So they're all charities. And they are primarily faith-based, but also other non-denominational, larger not-for-profits as well. So you'll find your church basement operation or a large multi-service organization that may run some type of food program, whether that's a pantry, a hot meal through a soup kitchen, a low-income senior center or daycare center, or even an after-school program like the Boys and Girls Club, for example.
And again, being familiar with some of them, not all of them, some of them don't run full-time, some of them operate part-time or once a week or once a month, and so there's a variety of different levels of service that these 260 agencies or not-for-profits provide. Is that true?
The capacity is very limited. The network is primarily reliant on volunteers, so obviously there are limitations when you run with volunteers, although it's probably the most amazing volunteer network that you can come across. Ordering food and receiving deliveries or doing pickups and then stocking the shelves in your refrigerators and your freezers, it's not a small task. It's labor intensive for sure. But it's a volunteer labor pool that actually works very hard to make sure that everyone in the community receives food.
So how many volunteers are in your location that you count on every day to make sure this happens?
We have hundreds of volunteers coming through actually thousands of volunteers that come through our doors every year. And they range from individual volunteers to corporate volunteers that come in with their teams for team building exercises and help us sort the food and pre-package food for delivery to our network.
And where do you get the food from?
That's a great question. So where does this food come from? Well, a lot of it comes from food drives, or a good number of it comes from food drives, whether it's individual drives or corporate drives or a retail store. But we really source food from anywhere in the manufacturing stream. So literally from farm to the retail location and everything in between. And we work, our primary sources come from 3 different areas. We work to source food from the federal government through some commodities. The TFAP program is something that we rely on to make sure that there's some balanced inventory coming in. We receive some state funding for purchasing of wholesale product. And then, of course, the donation stream is the most important and the backbone of food banking. And donations can come from, again, anywhere in the manufacturing stream, whether it's a farm or even our retail stores who have excess product or product that's no longer good for sale, but still good for consumption.
And then, again, do you place your orders or whatever you're in need of, go look for and find to stock your shelves, and then these 260 agencies come and shop?
Yes, our goal is to have, and we have a large facility, it's about 35,000 square foot facility, and about 8,000 of which is cooler and freezer capacity. And our goal is to be able to maintain an inventory that can provide a balanced meal to our community, whether that meal comes in a bag for food pantries or whether that's a hot meal that's being prepared at one of the soup kitchens that we provide food for. But because we're relying on donations, food donations in many parts, except for the small portion of food that we go out and purchase, then we definitely have to make sure that we're sourcing actively from different places. Because you might get pasta from one place, but you may not get the sauce. So you need to go out and make sure you get the sauce somewhere else. And then you want to make sure you have vegetables on the tables, and that's even more complex.
Sure, especially to have a balanced meal. The other that we always hear about is that during summer months, the shelves become a little bare, so that there might be a lot more emphasis on campaigns during those times of the year. So what's your high time and low time?
During the holiday season, the food holidays that we call them, Thanksgiving all the way through New Year, there's always it's a time of anxiety in terms of food. We want to make sure that everyone around us and all our neighbors have food on the table. But the reality is, if you were hungry before Thanksgiving, you're probably hungry or dealing with the reasons of why you're hungry well after Thanksgiving. It's a year-round problem. In the summer in particular, we need to make sure that our shelves are stocked. And we need to make sure that they're stocked because the other thing that's going on in the summer is that many children are out of school. And when they're in school, they can get at least a hot lunch, if not a lunch and a breakfast. When they're not in school, that's another meal that the family may have to be responsible for and may not be able to provide.
So how many people do you help or serve in regards to Monmouth and Ocean? I think you mentioned it before, but one more time?
Yeah, it's about 127,000 people. And this was all before Sandy. We don't know how many more families have been affected and will be affected, not only in the short and midterm, but over the long term. We know this is going to be a big lift. So we're serving 1 in 10 right now. We're serving more than 1 in 10 right now, is what I can say.
Wow. And we're going to be talking about food insecurity. It seems to be the new buzzword out there, but it really is very, very important for us to address. Again, at SCAN we deal with the 50-plus population, and senior citizens sometimes don't buy healthy food because they can't, because of their income levels, or not, again, having some information about what is considered to be healthy. Do you have any special programs, or do any of your 260 agencies deal with seniors specifically?
I would say that the vast majority of them do. And the great thing about the network is that they're in the community. So we have programs that are serving all 80 somewhat municipalities in Monmouth and Ocean. You know, and they do open different times in different areas, different times and different days, I should say. But they are all, everyone in the community is welcome who is in need to come in and get some food from them.
So what phone number can we give out to our viewers in regards to getting in touch with you? And is there a list on your website about where to go if someone is in need of help? There
is a list on our website, so it's always the best place to get the most current information, and that's at FoodBankMoc.org. So again, that's www.foodbankmoc.org. And if you wish to speak to someone live, you can always call us at 732-918-2600.
So we're going to take a short break right now, and we will be back with more important information. Thank you.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at Ready.gov.
Hello again, my name is Pat Bohse, and today we are with Carlos Rodriguez, who's the Executive Director of the FoodBank of Monmouth and Ocean County. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So what I'd like to talk about now is the outcomes or the reality that you had to face when Superstorm Sandy hit. I know that the impact was huge, and what role did the food bank play then and is now and will continue in the future?
So I guess immediately after, actually the planning for Sandy actually began about 6 months before, when we decided as a food bank that we needed to better prepare. One of the ways to be better prepared is to make sure that you can be as operational as possible during a disaster. Our generator went live 3 days before Sandy. And so when I tell you that it was a lifesaver, it's literally not an exaggeration. A lifesaver and a holiday saver. We had about 10,000 turkeys already in the freezer that October 29th. And well, you know, after Sandy, there was no way to get that kind of product back, and so that alone made it worthwhile. But the other thing that it allowed us to be operational the very morning after. We had a skeleton crew there. We were on the phones calling our network and trying to do an assessment of what not only our networks look like, who was affected, but also who, you know, what was going on in the community and what the immediate needs were. That first month, we provided enough food for well over 1 million meals, just in 1 month alone. And that included some of the first meals to the shelters at Monmouth University, while the Southern Baptist group came in and Red Cross got this set up. Since we're in the community and we know the community, we were able to, and we were fortunate enough to be operational, we were able to coordinate efforts and provide some hot meals. And we continued to provide a total of about 9,000 meals throughout the community those first few weeks. And that was the immediate impact, right? We also coordinated a lot of information, and we still coordinate out a lot of information as part of the recovery teams. You know, the interesting thing is, this is not my first disaster, but the first disaster that I'm so embedded and so entrenched in, is that we have to realize that although the immediate relief is immediate, as the word says, the recovery is more of a marathon. And you really have to pace yourself, and you really want to take the time and make the investment to be as methodical as possible so you can get the resources, get as many resources as you need and get them to where they need to be the right way.
And you are part of the long-term recovery groups, probably both in Monmouth and Ocean County.
We are.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of discussion around the issue of food, especially those who are still displaced, and will probably be for a long term. I think that when we talk about recovery, people kind of put it in terms of months, where reality is it will probably be years as far as rebuild and recovery. So what new clientele or new people have you seen or will be serving going forward, do you think?
Well, we obviously immediately saw folks who were immediately displaced and were just looking for a hot meal in different places. Then we continue to serve folks in different hotels. We would provide some with hot meals in some places. And then, of course, there are so many new kind of relief sites that are providing hot meals, not only for those that are affected, but for first responders and volunteers that are coming in. So we are ready and continue to be able to supply those organizations, those new organizations, with product from the food bank. And that's just on food. We also know, though, that aside from the immediate and the cleanup responsibilities and work that has to be done, there's the impact on the economy. So, there might be some construction and retail bumps in construction-related goods and services, but the economy took a tremendous hit. And we won't know for sure until the summer comes and what's been restored and what tourism looks like, how much of a hit that really looks like. So we're getting ready for yet another wave, another economic storm, if you would, and unemployment and what that might bring. And that's where the food bank is used to operating on a year-round basis, because there's always folks. There was over 9% unemployment before the Superstorm Sandy, and who knows what it'll be after. Who knows how many new folks that were gainfully employed and could never imagine losing their job before this literally had their jobs washed away.
So now that we're talking about the economic piece of it, let's talk about the bank. When we talk about food bank, again, this is just a new concept for me. I never thought about the bank side of the business that you run. So let's talk about that, because we're really pleased here at SCAN to be working in collaboration with you on this particular project.
Absolutely. And so you really have to play on both words. We do food, and people know food banks for doing food and providing food. But the bank part really does speak to our mission. And our mission is to help create a food secure environment. As we discussed earlier, that means being able to provide families with the resources they need so they can go and shop the way you and I shop, and they can have the income that they need to buy the most nutritious product that they can afford. So one way that we do this, and we've done for a long time, is to help connect families with important income supports. Benefits and programs that allow them to actually stretch their dollar a bit more so they can go out and buy the food that they need. The food stamp program, SNAP as it's known now, is something that we've done for many, many years. And as part of our recovery efforts, we're expanding our reach with SNAP, but we're also looking at other government programs that families might be eligible for. And one of the things that we were exploring, even before Sandy and in partnership with the IRS, was what can we do to help working families file and claim for the Earned Income Tax Credit and child tax credits. We leave literally millions of those federal dollars back in Washington when families are here in Monmouth and Ocean are eligible for it, and all they have to do is file a tax return. The interesting thing is that these same families that are eligible for sometimes thousands of dollars aren't necessarily required to file a return, but if they don't, they won't be eligible for these important refunds and tax credits.
And on the senior side, I mean, I just shared this with you. I was at a meeting, and we are looking at the economic indicator for seniors who are 65 and over. And for a woman who lives alone and rents an apartment, the average income was $14,500. And to live in Monmouth County, it cost approximately $27,000. So the issue is, how do they make that work? And so looking at some of the programs available to seniors, which you've talked about, SNAP is one of them. The other is PAD, which has to do with the drug prescription program. And some who still might own their homes is the rent subsidy, or freezing real estate taxes. So there are a bunch of programs on the senior side too, looking at that they can probably get approximately $5,000 more in income per year. So tell us, while we have a couple more minutes left, about what we're going to be doing together in regards to the VITA program.
Well, we're very excited that SCAN has literally opened the doors to the food bank, and we'll be partnering together to provide free tax services. So the idea is to provide free tax services through the IRS's VITA program, and families that are earning less than $50,000 a year, or individuals earning less than $18,000 a year, can come to SCAN either on Monday, Thursday, or Saturday. Monday 4 to 8, or Thursday 4 to 8, or Saturday from 10 to 3, and be able to have their taxes prepared by a IRS certified preparer.
And we're really excited to be able to do that with you too. As far as eligibility, can you maybe give us a little more information about what someone would need to do? Do they need to make an appointment prior to coming? What phone number should they be calling? What do they need to bring with them?
What they need to bring with them is a valid driver's license or photo ID for themselves and for their spouse if they're applying jointly. And they should bring the Social Security number for themselves and anyone that's a part of their household, any dependents that they're claiming on their tax file. And then, of course, everything you would normally take to a preparer, a W-2, any 1098s or 99 forms that you received, anything that you received in January, early February, you should be bringing to your tax preparer, and they'll help you sort through what you need. And we're very, very fortunate to be partnering not only with the IRS, but also with Cowan Guntaski, which is a local CPA firm, and they'll be helping us to prepare all the taxes as well.
So on those days, people can come to SCAN, which we're located in the Monmouth Mall, which is conveniently located in the basement next to the mall management office, and get their taxes done. So we're very pleased to be part of that.
And not just taxes, too. So we'll be here. Our preparers and intake folk will be eligible, are trained to also identify folks who are eligible for food stamps and perhaps some other benefits.
And they'll be able to sign up then?
Absolutely. We'll be able to walk you through the application process. Not only while you wait for your taxes, you might also leave with some other benefits as well. And
is there a special number to make an appointment, or is it just a walk-in?
It's a walk-in for now, but hopefully tell a friend after you come here and have a great experience, and we want to make sure there's a good waiting list for folks to come. So our first year doing this here at the Food Bank. I've done this in other places before, so we're very excited to be able to provide this important service.
So we have one more minute left, so I do want to personally thank you and all of the people on your staff for the outstanding work that you've done. Ongoing, and especially during this time of emergency with the Sandy storm. And we're really looking forward to working with you on this project and a lot of other projects in the near future. So one more time, your telephone number and your website, please.
You can always find more information about the Food Bank at our website, www.foodbankmoc.org. So that's foodbankmoc.org. And our number is 732-918-2600.
Great. And I want to thank Carlos for being here. And I'm sure that the viewers found this information incredibly informative. I hope that you come join us and get your tax returns done if you're eligible. And we're going to be hearing from Andrea Tarr, the program director of SCAN, in regards to some of the programs going on at SCAN. Thank you.
Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Andrea Tarr. I'm the program director here at SCAN, where active adults meet and grow. And today we're going to be highlighting one of our classes, our TV production class. So with me today is our instructor for the TV production class, and that is Charles Burke.
Hi, Andrea.
Hey, thanks for being with me today.
Thank you.
All right, so this is going to be a little bit fun because we want to let people know what goes on in the TV production class, and who better to ask than you. So why don't you give us a little information? What's the objective? What are people going to be learning about in this class?
Well, there's actually several objectives. The first and most important one is to provide an opportunity for the clients, the students, to learn about television production, how to run cameras, how to produce shows. Basically, I try to tailor the program so that it meets whatever their needs are. Because sometimes people just want to learn how to operate a camera for taking family affairs, like parties and things. Others are more interested in actually the pre-production work, how to plan a program, how to create a set and everything else. So that's one half of it. The other half is that we actually produce television shows which go out on Comcast, Cablevision, and Fios to about 450,000 homes. So, in fact, just in a couple of minutes, we will be producing a show called Welcome to SCAN. Okay. And we'll be highlighting several important guests. And that will be then turned around, edited, and put onto the cable stations. So it's really kind of a dual program.
It's the real thing, though. We're really producing TV shows.
Yes, it is. And I give these people credit because almost all of them have no background. They come in and within a relatively short period of time are producing better materials than you'll see sometimes on commercial TV.
Well, let's not tell everybody about that. Well, that's great. So I love the fact that they're really doing a real TV show. And so people coming into this class don't need any previous knowledge of TV production.
Absolutely not.
Okay, it's a starting point.
It's a starting
Okay.
point.
And do they need anything in particular to purchase? Do they have to have anything special to come here?
No, actually, the only thing we ask them to bring is enthusiasm.
Okay.
Because what it comes down to is we try to tailor the actual lessons and material to reflect their abilities.
Okay.
And when it comes down to hardware or equipment, we have a lending policy.
All right.
And that is anything in the studio they would like to borrow, they can do it.
So that's a nice little perk. For the
Yeah, it's
students.
kind of nice.
Yeah.
There are people who do want to take cameras home, and maybe they've got a party or a family confirmation or something, so they can tape it.
And so when does this TV production class meet? What's the schedule?
It meets every Friday,
Every Friday.
from 12 to 2.
Okay.
And it's been around now for, I think this is the 14th year.
14 years.
14 years. And it's kind of nice because we actually have had students who have been in the class for 10, 11 years. And they just keep coming back because they enjoy it so much.
That's really fabulous. That really is. So what is your background on this subject that, that you get to be the instructor of the TV production class?
Well, I actually taught TV production for about 19 years, and I also ran a television studio. I ran a 5-municipality television station, and we really had professional type of work.
Okay, and so that's the wonderful thing about coming to a class here at SCAN is that the students are really working with someone who's done this before.
Yes.
So you are the real deal,
Yep.
and this is the real deal.
And we have a lot of fun.
Okay, well that's some of the best part of it, the social aspect.
Yep.
Well, thank you all for taking a few minutes of your time to listen to this. I'm Andrea Tarr, Program Director of SCAN, where active adults meet and grow. Thanks, Charlie Burke, for being with me today.
Thank you, Andrea.
There is also a very attractive extended warranty option that includes free service and parts for the next 5 years. But there's no need for you to get that. You failed to get the test you needed at the doctor that would have detected disease early enough where it could have been treated. So you won't be around in 2 years to see him grow up, which means the warranty would be useless. Okay, sign here, please.
For a list of tests every man should have, go to ahrq.gov.
How to locate SCAN. SCAN is easy to locate once you find the movie theater at Monmouth Mall. As you enter the parking lot from Route 35, the theater is almost directly ahead of you. Drive towards the theater, but go up along the left side into the parking lot. As you approach the end, you will see entrance number 3 on your right. Park and enter the building here. Once inside, you will see a staircase that only goes down. After passing through the doors at the bottom, turn to your left, and SCAN is right there.